Good evening and welcome to Camnet TV News to present. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: CONCORT dismisses eligibility case involving ECL. Protesting NPA officers handed transfer letters. Government to roll out the census program in November 2021. And in international news, sheriffs set on former Malawian president for failure to pay legal costs. And in sports news, Rangers coach GERALD happy with the acquisition of fashion SAKALA.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict. For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply. Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
And now the news in detail. A historian from the University of Zambia, Professor Bizek Perry, says the handout kind of empowerment being witnessed is not recommendable for a country that seeks to effectively compete in the continental free trade area. He says in order for Zambia to benefit from the African continental free trade area, it must raise serious entrepreneurs who will be able to contribute to Zambia's export portfolio. Professor Perry says Zambia risks becoming a dumping ground for foreign-owned products, given that the right measures are not put in place. An extraordinary summit of the AU Assembly on the African Continental Free Trade Area took place virtually on the 5th of December 2020. The Assembly approved the start of trading under the AFCFTA agreement as at 1st January 2021. We have more in this report.
The African Continental Free Trade Area is a flagship project of the African Union's Agenda 2063, a blueprint for attaining inclusive and sustainable development across the continent over the next 50 years. It aims to boost intra-African trade by providing a comprehensive and mutually beneficial trade agreement among member states covering trade in goods and services, investments, intellectual property rights, and competition policy. As of 5th February 2021, 36 countries had deposited their instruments of ratification, Zambia inclusive. A historian from the University of Zambia, Professor Bizek Perry, has cautioned that Zambia risks becoming a dumping ground for foreign goods and services if the right interventions are not put in place.
Now, in order to benefit as a country in these arrangements, first and foremost, it's not enough to provide a market. Like Zambia now is a very good market for countries that are advanced in production, with industries that are producing. If you come to Zambia, our industries have completely collapsed. So you find that we're just importing. In order to benefit on this free trade area, first and foremost, a country like Zambia must go back and say, what is it that we have not done? If you may recall, during the First and Second Republic, Zambia had a lot of industries that were manufacturing a lot of products.
He notes that Zambia's economy has been shrinking owing to the fact that it is import dependent. He says if the country is to effectively benefit from the continental trade, then it must focus on the industrialization agenda so that it can diversify its export portfolio.
Free trade area. We must move away from this process of trying to just, we talk about empowerment, marketeers and so on. We must begin to say, how do we rejuvenate? How do we bring back those industries that existed so that we can now be producing. And then if we are producing, then we'll be exporting finished products. That way, even our economy will grow. Now we are talking about, if you look at the rate of the kwacha versus the dollar, it has become very low. The reason is that we are doing a lot of importation. We are not exporting anything. So whatever little money we have is being exported instead of generating money in our own country. If you go into these shopping malls, they are very beautiful. We are very proud that we have nice shopping malls in our cities. But when you go there and examine what is being sold in most of these shopping malls are imported products. We need to reverse that process.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Government has set 1st November 2021 as the date for the commencement of the census of population and housing in Zambia following its failure to conduct census in 2020. Minister of National Development Planning Alexander Chiteme says the main prerequisite activities for the main census, which are the mapping and listing exercise and the pilot census, have since been successfully completed. The minister has, however, appealed to cooperating partners and the private sector to render support in different areas. The minister said this during the unveiling of the new Zambia Statistics Agency Board and when he received 2,110 bicycles donated by the United Nations Population Fund towards the undertaking of the census. And UNPF country representative Gift Malunga says she is extremely confident that the government will be able to successfully undertake the census as planned.
After failing to conduct census of population and housing in 2020 due to, among other things, the gas and fracas that claimed the lives of innocent citizens and the COVID-19 pandemic, government has set 1st November to 28th November 2021 as the date in which the country will undertake its census of population and housing. The importance of a census lies in it being an integrated picture of society in a given time within numerous, multiple and continuous changes which cannot be defined through other data collecting methods. And for a developing country like Zambia, census plays a critical role in the sustainability of its development agenda. And the United Nations Population Fund has donated 2,110 bicycles to be used towards the conducting of census in rural areas.
We are extremely confident that the government will be able to successfully undertake the census as planned. It is in this regard that I hereby reaffirm UNFPA support to the census undertaking. Building on previous support provided to the Zamsters, I'm pleased to officially hand over 2,110 bicycles with 268,471 towards the census undertaking.
And Minister of National Development Planning Alexander Chiteme says government is committed to conducting census. He, however, says there is still a shortfall of 17,505 bicycles and wants cooperating partners to come on board and offer different support.
Allow me to take this opportunity to inform the nation that I have signed a Gazette notice designating 1st November 2021 as the date for the commencement of the census, which will end on the 28th of November. The total number of bicycles available to date is 2,495. This therefore means that we have a shortfall of 17,505 bicycles required for the successful undertaking of the census exercise. I am therefore appealing to all other cooperating partners, the private sector, to render support in this regard and in other areas of the census.
And the ministry has also appointed the first ever board of the Zambian Statistical Agency to be chaired by the former NAPSA director Charles Mpundu with 8 other members. The board will, among other things, ensure it supports the undertaking of the 2021 census of population and housing in November.
Chair is Mr. Charles Mpundu, and he is former CEO for Director General for NAPSA. He was CEO for Workers' Compensation and the General Manager for CONCORT. Then we have Dr. Elma Banda, who was once the Director of Census and Statistics here within Zambia, Isaac Muhanga, who is representing the Bank of Zambia. It's a requirement in the Act that we have representation from the center. The ministers appointed Mr. Stalud, Dr. Stalud MC Chibila, who is representing the Institute for Economic and Social Research from the University of Zambia.
No development can ever be completed in a country where statistics are not available or information is outdated, hence the need to ensure that census is conducted in the country. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Suspects who bounced Wednesday morning when they went to attend to their court cases at the Lusaka Magistrate Court have called on relevant authorities to consider addressing the plight of public prosecutors as their protest is affecting them. Those spoken to by Camnet TV News disclosed that since Monday they have been coming to court, but their cases are not being heard because of the ongoing protests by NPA officers. They state that those in charge of addressing the plight of public prosecutors should not hesitate in doing so because all the cases are now adjourned. Meanwhile, information obtained from highly placed sources indicate that a 7-man committee tasked to negotiate for the prosecutors has been given transfer letters. But efforts to get hold of the Chief Administrator, Mabel Nawa, for a comment proved futile by broadcast time as she did not respond to the press query sent to her. The public prosecutors from the National Prosecutions Authority, NPA, who have entered a third day of protests, are demanding that government resolve their issues relating to underpayments of their retirement packages, among other things.
Munga inekani ya namba kuchoka pa 12 January. So ma complainants sababu hapo then ineni kunchito pese kati each and every time nipempa nankan ni feeling nankan live for. So each and every time my leave days yang alosiba then using for transport kukwela kukwela so nkani angasikambika ndiye chema views yanga mene kambe ndiye nkani amene ngafunga kukambiwa amene so that itiziwe kuti tiendera part ndaba each and every time ipeze kati tikakwela kuno so chabe tikweleramu tikakwela kuno tikweleramu so hapa ine munga ine mapese kani masenzela out. So most of the time hapa nenze kukitu nchito na isi ya chabe embekezele chabe kwa mkuja nango using a transport ya pa bosses wa ngene then na kuno futi using a transport nkasiriza futi nibwelele futi niende kwa mene futi last time pa 17 futi last month nienza kuja.
The Constitutional Court has dismissed the petition by United Party for National Development UPND Katuba Member of Parliament Bampi Kapalasa and the Lusaka resident Joseph Busenga, where they were seeking an interpretation on whether President Edgar Lungu can run for a third term in the August 12th elections. Delivering a ruling Wednesday afternoon, the court ruled that it has already settled the issues regarding the eligibility of President Edgar Lungu in the Dan Pule and others versus the Attorney General in 2018. And speaking shortly after the court session, Mr. Kapalasa and Mr. Busenga described the court's ruling as being unfair. We have more in this report.
Emotions were high for the two applicants who recently filed in a petition before the Constitutional Court seeking an interpretation on whether President Edgar Lungu was eligible to stand in the forthcoming 2021 general elections after the Constitutional Court Wednesday afternoon dismissed their case. The two applicants, Bampi Kapalasa, who is United Party for National Development UPND Katuba Member of Parliament, and a Lusaka resident, Joseph Busenga, said the court should have given them a chance to hear their argument. In this case, the two petitioners made an application for the interpretation of the expunged provision of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia that as to whether the current Republican President, Edgar Lungu, is eligible to run for the third term while taking into consideration Article 1061(3)(a)(6)(a) and (b) of 2016 of the Constitution of Zambia and Article 35(1) and (2) of the 1996 Constitution. But the court, in its ruling Wednesday afternoon, dismissed the application on ground that it had already settled the issue regarding the eligibility of the president in the Dan Pule case in 2018. In speaking shortly after the court session, the two applicants had this to say over the ruling.
And who was willing above all chiefly. So we have suffered, I must admit, we've suffered a major setback in terms of acquiring justice and equity.
The court should have had time to hear us. The court should have time to interpret, because this thing is about the Constitution. And the Constitution, all of us as Zambians, we're supposed to protect, defend, and uphold. But from the look of things, they didn't want to listen to any of the things that we raised. So I'm very, very disappointed. And I pray that Zambians out there should rise up and fight the third term.
Earlier, the state, through Solicitor General, urged the court to dismiss the case as it was not properly before court. But the two applicants, who had no legal representation, requested for more time to engage a lawyer because they did not have basic understanding of legal terms, which the state objected to. And Attorney General had this comment.
So what has been dismissed is the question as to whether the issues of holding office twice. So that's when the court said that matter is resolved already. In short, maybe generally, because we know that's why it's getting to. In short, the court is saying that you cannot question President Edgar Lungu as to whether he has held office twice or you know that argument. So basically what the court is saying, that issue has been resolved and it's been dismissed because it's already resolved in the earlier Danipule case. Yeah. So
on Monday, the court had declined to withdraw the case after two applicants, through their lawyer, Malambo Haimbe, submitted that they wanted to withdraw the case. This was after the Attorney General urged the court to settle the case once and for all, because the debate over the presidential eligibility has continued, and given the fact that the country will soon be heading toward the polls. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Republican Progressive Party RPP President Leslie Chikose has urged the Zambia citizenry and political parties to reject the proposed venue data management system being implemented by the Zambia Police. In the new introduced system to be controlled by the Zambia Police, all political parties with intentions of holding political meetings should apply to the police online until their request is approved. But Mr. Chikose says the system is against the democratic tenets of the country. He explains that the new system also entails that every time a political party is holding a rally, the said party has to inform the police the full list of speakers, which should determine whether to grant them permission or not. Mr. Chikose states that many a times that meetings for the ruling party have been held without any approval from the police, while only being heard on the opposition.
This particular proposal by the police is likely to make the Public Order Act more problematic. Would like to state that currently we have seen a lot of unlawful detentions, especially when it comes to the opposition, and therefore our position is that as we go towards the 2021 elections, the police must show non-discrimination when it comes to the application of the law. We want to appeal to the police to be professional, and that they must decentralize and ensure that their human resource is everywhere when it comes to administration of the elections ahead of the 2021 elections.
The Zambia Police Service has impounded 5 trucks and 1 tractor in Manyinga and Kabompo areas during operations to stop the illegal cutting of trees for timber. Northwestern Province Police Commissioner John Jase says the rate at which deforestation is taking place needs all stakeholders to think of the future of this country. Mr. Jase says a balanced issuance of concession licenses by the Forestry Office and environmental protection for sustainable development is critical in light of global warming. He has since warned all those involved in these illegal activities to stop forthwith before they are arrested. United Party for National Development UPND presidential spokesperson Anthony Walia has expressed sadness at the revelations that the University Teaching Hospital UTH has run out of life-saving consumables required by patients in need of dialysis support. Tuesday, Health Minister Jonas Chanda acknowledged this development when he toured the University Teaching Hospital renal unit, where he discovered that the contract in respect of the supply of renal consumables was terminated in November 2020. Mr. Walia is particularly concerned that government has spent huge sums of money in the procurement of military wear, but has failed to buy life-saving medical supplies. He has cited the splashing of over $200 million United States dollars of debt money on surveillance equipment, which he says is designed to sabotage democracy, instead of prioritizing investment in public health care so that citizens are able to access all manner of life-saving treatment in our public health institutions. He says the UPND is promising Zambians that under its administration, healthcare will be a priority sector.
Deeply saddened by revelations that the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, has run out of life-saving consumables required by patients in need of dialysis support. We are especially horrified at reports that the contract in respect of the supply of renal consumables was in fact terminated in November of 2020 after the PF government failed to make payments on this particular contract. Now, Zambians are reminded that the PF government at the moment spends more money on procuring military hardware and associated military contracts, while spending meager to no amount of money at all on public health care, a situation that effectively sentences thousands of poor citizens in our country to death. A recent example, which we in the UPND absolutely talked about and brought to the attention of the public, is the reckless splashing of over $200 million of debt money on surveillance equipment designed to sabotage our democracy, instead of prioritizing investments in public health care so that citizens are able to access all manner of life-saving treatment in our public health institutions.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil, The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
It's your friends.
I insist.
Your drama.
Do you think you can talk about my dad like that? You're in charge.
And intrigue.
Are you out for good or what? What do you want? Dare you say that to me, eh?
Your heroes. It's your moment with your stories. Made at home for your home. 'Cause great stories start on DSTV.
Welcome back. Government says the country is this year expected to record the highest maize and soybeans harvest in the history of the country. Minister of Agriculture Michael Katambo says the maize production for the 2020-2021 farming season is expected above 3.6 million metric tons, while that of soybeans is expected at 411,115 metric tons. The minister, however, says there are two obstacles in actualizing or making agriculture an export-oriented sector, which includes the absence of the realizable real-time grain monitoring system and the long and porous borders with the neighboring countries. He says government is not opposed to exporting of maize, but that there is need to come up with a mechanism that will allow government to monitor the supply, demand and prices of mealie meal in the country.
The projected production of maize will increase to 3,620,244 metric tons from 3,387,469 metric tons produced last season. This represents an increase of 7%. The maize bumper harvest expected this year is preliminarily attributed to the unprecedented delivery of inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program, coupled with good rains and a general trend to adopt good agricultural practices by our farmers. Just like soybeans, maize production this year is the highest in the history of our nation.
Zambia's ambassador to Brazil, Dr. Alfreda Kansembe Mwamba, has called on the Zambian diaspora in Latin America to take advantage of the technological advancement in agriculture, energy and manufacturing sectors by promoting trade and investment back home. Speaking when she addressed Zambians living in Brazil, Chile, Paraguay and Peru Ambassador Kansembe Mwamba encouraged them to invest back home amid government's efforts to avail them a conducive environment for doing business. Dr. Kansembe Mwamba assured Zambians living abroad of the government's good intentions as outlined in the diaspora policy and their participation in national development. She urged them to enter into partnership with indigenous businesses and joint ventures with foreign enterprises for the purpose of investing in Zambia. The Zambian envoy assured the Zambians of the embassy's commitment in addressing their challenges, such as lack of access to national documentation and feedback mechanisms. And Zambians living in Latin America expressed gratitude that the embassy had reached out to them and were delighted with the engagement. The major issue raised was how the government could help the women and men acquire land smoothly for them to embark on investment ventures in Zambia. Health Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda has congratulated the Zambia National Public Health Institute ZNPHI for the critical job they are doing in making sure that public health is enhanced. Dr. Chanda notes that COVID-19 is not the only pandemic that the world is battling, hence the need for countries to be ready to fight such outbreaks. The Health Minister explains that Zambia's geographical boundaries put it at higher risk of transporting pandemics. And Dr. Chanda has also cautioned the public from keeping animals without vaccination, adding that they also carry pandemics which result in deaths for many. The minister was speaking when he toured Zambia National Public Health Institute, a specialized national public health authority mandated to provide public health security, disease surveillance, and evidence-based emergency response. And Zambia National Public Health Institute Acting Director General Dr. Kunda Msonda says ZNPHI has made strides in prevention of disease pandemics such as cholera and now the COVID-19. Dr. Msonda says Zambia has been privileged to host a center for 10 countries under the African Union Disease Control.
We have this pandemic called COVID-19 that we're dealing with, and it's not the only disease public health threat that we have. There are a lot of things that Dr. Msonda has mentioned. A lot of them are localized. You can have like Ebola in West Africa or somewhere in Central Africa, where listeriosis in the region, and a number of those things happen. But in terms of a global pandemic, the COVID-19 is an example of what happened just 100 days ago, the Spanish flu, which was another, a flu pandemic, which killed a lot of millions actually of people. Yeah, but today we are lucky. I think science has advanced, and that is why the government established this very, very important institute through that act that we talked about, and we have that commencement order. If you look at Zambia, we're surrounded by 8 countries. I think I haven't forgotten my geography. Yeah, so I always have all the 8 countries in my head. And luckily, I've also worked in a number of these our neighboring countries. So if you look at Zambia, basically stands at the center. And the danger is that the way we are located, our geolocation itself, makes us very vulnerable in terms of importation of these public health threats. Right now, we are concerned about what is happening in India, the COVID-19 situation in India, and the variants, those Indian variants of the COVID-19. How do we ensure that we don't import all these variants here? And that is why we expect the ZNHPI to lead us in terms of disease surveillance, what measures we take, and all that.
The Lusaka City Council LCC has received assorted office equipment from a German institution, GIZ, to be used at Charleston Public Health Site Office. LCC Public Health Officer Christopher Mtonga received the donated items, which include 5 desktops, 5 laptops, 10 office chairs, 1 conference table, and 1 55-inch entry UHD smart screen. Mr. Mtonga says the donated items will help Council bring services closer to the people. The LCC Public Health Director thanked GIZ for capacitating the satellite station with office equipment that will enable officers in service delivery. He added that during this COVID-19 period, it is important that the number of people frequenting Civic Center is reduced through decentralization of Council services. The creation of satellite offices was a move by Council to make Council health services accessible in line with government decentralization policy.
The United States office in Charleston. where we're receiving donations from GIZ. Donations which include computers, projectors, as well as photocopies, as well as office furniture. These are to make sure that we have smooth running public services and the satellite offices. This comes in line with the supervision policy of the government, where we want to bring services closer to the people. So we're very grateful to GIZ for the continued support they've rendered to us, because we know we're working with them on a number of projects, which obviously make sure that council service delivery is appreciated by the community. So the gesture that's meted here is one of the main things GIZ is doing together with the local authority, connection to office furniture, as well as equipment.
Government has called for harmonization of studies around the protection of the source of the Zambezi River. The Ministry of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection Minister says having one collective document will be more ideal as opposed to having several pieces of documentation addressing the same issues around the source of the Zambezi River. Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection Raphael Nakachinda said this Tuesday when he visited the source of the river, which is part of his tour of Northwestern Province. Mr. Nakachinda was informed that Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, the academia, ministries of mines and natural resources, local government and other organizations are doing individual studies on the best way to protect the source of the Zambezi River. He says having a disjointed approach will not quickly address the concerns such as human activities that are bound to affect river life. Meanwhile, Chieftainess Ikelenge of Ikelenge District said her chiefdom supports the government's decision to protect the critical water resource.
300 meters away from here, where the actual point is. So like those who were coming the previous time without the tour guides would just end up there as the actual source. Yes.
But the actual source
is 300 meters away from here.
Okay.
No, it's okay, it's okay. We maintained it recently.
This is the fallen tree which has been explaining on the display, and that's why we have done these closings to avoid people stepping this part because they can reduce the lifespan of it.
Where is that coming from? Obviously here. So we don't seem to be wanting at any point to stop that. So basically it is an issue of deploying the technology that will still help us extract the natural resource, as well as preserve. So basically it's to push that the study quickly is done, because the Ministry of Mines are also insisting that they can't stop the mining activities. We have been in battle to also say that we need to protect the water resource. But the good thing is obviously it's one government, so we have interacted and come up with a position which we are forming Camnet on that. I think taking advantage of that is basically to insist that the study be undertaken as quickly as possible.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Making GoTV payments is easier than you think. But first, you have to log in. First of all, open the GoTV app, then select your country. Fill in your surname or cell phone number, and then your IUC number. That's it. You can log in. Welcome to your home page. Now click on Pay Now. Select Make a Payment. Next, You will be asked how much you wish to pay. You can do this by clicking on the space next to the kwacha sign and entering the desired amount. All the details of your payment, including account details and amount you are paying, will appear. Make sure everything is in order. Now click on the Ting button under Choose Payment option. When the Ting window pops up, click on OK and then Pay Now. Now, select Preferred Card Payment or Mobile Money option. When the Make a Payment window opens, click on the pink Pay Now button. Now, you simply authorize the payment by clicking on Send Prompt, which will send a prompt to your mobile number. Once you've received the prompt on your phone, simply enter the unique PIN and you are done. Go TV. Love it.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha. Lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010. Or you can pay via Stanbic bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that could give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. In international news, sheriffs have been told to seize and sell property belonging to former President of Malawi, Peter Mutharika, over Mutharika's failure to pay legal costs. Mutharika and former Secretary to the government, Lloyd Muhara, were ordered by a court to pay legal costs amounting to 60 million kwacha, but have so far managed to pay 47 million kwacha only. The High Court has now told the sheriffs to pounce on the two in order to get the remaining 22 million Malawian kwacha. The money will be paid to Human Rights Defenders Coalition, Association of Magistrates in Malawi, and Malawi Law Society. The three organizations won a case in which Mutharika and Muhara were found to have abused their offices by attempting to force Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda and Justice of Appeal Edward Twe to go on leave pending retirement. The attempt was made in June last year when Mutharika was in power, but it was thwarted after three organizations sought judicial review. It's now time for sports news. In In sports news, Rangers manager Steven Gerrard believes the new acquisition Fashion Sakala fits the club's profile and has the potential to thrive in Scotland. Gerrard confirmed that the club has been following Sakala for some time now and that he is a player who can thrive on the European stage. Gerrard says Fashion is a player who the club has been monitoring for some time now. The former sensational Zanaco and Nchanga Rangers player has penned a 4-year deal with the Scottish Giants, who he will only join in July at the end of his current contract with Belgian Jupiler Pro League side KV Ostend. The 24-year-old has netted 13 times and assisted 3 times for the Belgian top flight club in their impressive season in the Belgian top flight, which has seen them enter the UEFA Europa League qualification phase in Belgium. The sporting item brings us to the end of our news, but we'll take a look at the headlines again. The CONCORT dismisses eligibility case involving ECL. Protesting NPA officers handed transfer letters. Government to roll out the census program in November 2021. In international news, sheriffs set on former Malawian president for failure to pay legal costs. And in sports, Rangers coach Steven Gerrard happy with the acquisition of Fashion Sakala. The Camnet TV World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Romans 10, verse 11 to 13, and it reads, "Now the scripture says, everyone who believes in him would not be put to shame, for there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, since the same Lord of all is rich to all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Thanks for watching Camnet TV News. Bye-bye.